Hi, this is Gavin Edson, and you're listening to my mom, Georgia Ensign, on iCannabisRadio.com.
Hi, welcome. I'm Georgia. You're on iCannabis Radio. I'm in the studio with John and Chris. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Today is March
Whoa.
4th. March 4th. Holy smokes. I will warn you, we have a studio full of puppies. Puppies all over the place. Little puppies, big puppies, loud puppies. I was going to say quiet puppies, but there are no quiet puppies here.
No, they're all loud.
They're all loud. So if you hear some barking or some panting or whatever, it is not Chris. It is either Junior or Hayes or Diesel. It could be anybody. It could be anybody. But welcome. John, what's going on?
Just experiencing a beautiful day in Colorado. If everything from sun to snow and sun again.
One of those typical days. Guess who is in the chat room right now?
An amazing person that I can't tell who it is.
One Marlo Wolf. Marlo is wishing that he was here to play with the puppies. Marlo, we miss you. We miss you very, very much.
The whole Max.
Marlo's watching from...
He's probably living the dream up there in Montana.
You know what?
Good job, buddy.
I mean, I don't know what dream it would be.
Yeah, his whole life is a dream. What's he talking
right?
about?
It's just he's far away. He's far away. And, I feel like...
Max is one of those people who can make friends anywhere, though.
So I got to tell you, out of the blue the other day, my 8-year-old said, Mom, after school ends, can I go live with Max for the month of June? Just out of the blue. And so I texted Max, and Max said, sure, if Gavin can clean, he can sleep on my couch. And I responded, of course, if Gavin could clean, he wouldn't be leaving for the month of June. But, yeah.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, pretty...
Yeah, he'll come back, and, yeah, he won't be the same if he spends a month with Max.
Right, he's not going to spend a month with Max. Like, no offense or anything, Maxie. Like, we miss you terribly, and Gavin talks about you all the time. And I miss Marlo so much. I feel like he's grown and changed. And Marlo is a big bull mastiff. We like our bull mastiffs and big bull-related dogs around here.
Yep, especially if they're brindle.
Yes, I know, they're so pretty. We have such a fun night. I think someone posted for me on the chat room. We have such a fun night tonight. Normally on Glass Monday we talk a lot about
glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in a little transition phase at work, so I'm trying to figure a couple things out, and we'll be back to normal soon enough.
So, I mean, we'll talk a little bit about glass because, that just kind of sometimes happens when you're talking about cannabis. But we're going to talk about a whole lot of other things. One of the things that we're going to do, I never show long videos on my show. Sometimes I've showed clips or pictures or what have you. There's a video that we're going to watch after the first ad break. It's also on iCannabis Radio's Facebook page, and it's on my Facebook page. And of course, you can watch it on YouTube. But I want to listen to Dr. David Allen talk a little bit about medical marijuana and his feeling about the government's waging the war on drugs. And it's just it's a little bit longer. It's almost 7 minutes long, but it's worth it because I think that we are so insulated with all of the people who have always been intimately involved in the cannabis world and in getting rid of prohibition, ending prohibition, that we forget there are people who came to this for different reasons. And if you know a lot of patients, you tend to know patients who came to the cannabis world because they came out of desperation.
Yeah, it wasn't a willing choice as much.
It was the last resort kind of choice. And
they heard the stories.
They heard the stories. They had no other road to take, and so they decided that they would go ahead and do this. And I get that absolutely, absolutely. And I think those are some of the most valuable stories, because for whatever reason, just wanting to get high is not okay. And so I mean, societally, the government feels that way. So
But it is quite all right to go have a lot of beer.
right. But for
Yeah.
some reason, getting rip roaring drunk is funny. Right. Exactly.
Right. And getting in it's, standards, double standards.
Double standards. so the folks who came to the desire to end prohibition from that different perspective, they hold a lot of credibility, and they have helped really move the end of prohibition forward, getting to the end forward. And so David Allen is one of those docs who.
Not David Allen Coe, y'all.
Not David Allen Coe, y'all. So he came to this from a pretty basic medical standpoint. There's evidence that says this. As a physician who agrees to do no harm and who, at the end of the day, wants to make sure that I've helped as many people as
Right.
possible.
Your Hippocratic oath.
Exactly. So yeah, we're going to watch that after the first ad break. News, and some more news. So news locally, the Amendment 64 Task Force had their final meeting a week ago. Tuesday.
I don't know. I was out of state.
Oh my gosh. It's so hard for me to remember that it's Monday, Thursday. And what's great about that is that, there was dozens and dozens of people who gave untold hours to making recommendations for the implementation of Amendment 64, Article 18 of our Constitution. And those recommendations were made to the task force. The task force made the determination which ones that they would pass forward. And then this week, a report goes to the General Assembly, and the General Assembly then has to cut through the crud, I guess, and determine what they're going to go ahead and move forward with and what they're going to cut.
Now you see where the influence peddlers truly have put the money.
Well, this is definitely where the work starts to happen. Those people who understand the lobbying business know that lobbying starts now.
Yeah.
And so there will be some things that will happen because it's good for the industry. There will be some things that will happen because it's good for the politicians' PR. I don't see a whole lot of things that are good that are going to come out for the consumer or the patient.
It sounds like the taxes are going to be very high.
Taxes have the potential to be so high. That was one of the conversations that they had was, let's not tax this so high that the black market is the only benefactor.
Yeah. If they have the excise taxes, like I read the other day, it was like what was it, 25, 15, something like that?
Yep.
Golly, that's 65% tax on a product that, what do you think it costs a dispensary, by the time they pay people and all that to produce? I mean, you're only able to sell, at MMD as cheaply as you are because the taxation is not there. I mean, if you put 65% on top of a $25 eighth, you got a $50 eighth.
Right. Absolutely. And it's going to be,
it's going to lower
frozen.
the quality.
We're frozen. Chris?
It's just hit refresh on there. It's the computer.
Oh, because they said on the, I just got an email that says we're frozen.
We in a deep freeze.
Are we going?
Should be on.
Please respond if we're good to go.
Okay, we look like we're back. There we go. Sorry, we had a little. Looks like we had a little glitch today. Anyway, so yeah, the fact of the matter is that those taxes will be passed on to the consumer, who will be thinking twice about whether or not they want to buy from a store. Thus, opening up for the black market again.
Right, and the thing is going to occur that we're going to see the producers cut corners to get their costs down, and all you're going to do is impact the quality of your final product.
Right, exactly.
So if you want to shoot yourself in the foot with a 65% taxation rate, that's not wise.
Yeah.
If they can keep the tax below around 40%, sounds ideal to me. That's like 2015 5. Everybody's getting paid. That leaves some room for the consumer to buy a product that's, you can buy a black market ounce of pot in Atlanta, Georgia for $350. So you're at 40% taxation you're taking and basically pushing the curve to around that point. Just
Yeah.
the thing is they're buying it illegally in Georgia, they're buying it legally in Colorado.
That's right.
So
it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think that a lot of people think, oh, the work is done because the task force is no longer meeting, but this is just the beginning, and it's these next couple of months that are going to
until the final bill is signed by the
General Assembly.
Yep,
Mhm.
State General Assembly. It's all in question.
That's right. Well, then after that, the Department of Revenue is going to have to do some rulemaking, and that's going to be, really where the rubber hits the road and things are done. That they get the ability to do the minutia, to make the day-to-day operational rules. So that'll be an interesting piece of this whole puzzle, and this all needs to happen fast.
And are we going to have a lottery then to choose who the producers are? Or how is that? How are they going to pick the winners and losers there?
Well, right now it's
Because everyone's chomping at the bit to get a piece of the pie.
That's right. For the first year, there's a moratorium, and the only people that will be able to be retail players will be those people who are currently medical marijuana license holders. Vertical integration will more than likely be a requirement, at least for 3 years. That was a recommendation of the task force, which is good for the industry and bad for the consumer yet again. So that first year, the players who are in the game now, have a huge advantage.
Exactly.
Everyone's worried, understandably, about the ability to produce enough and what that's going to look like and how to do that.
Well, it's all going to go outdoors, and Colorado is not ideal for outdoor growing because of the elevation.
Well, an Amendment 64 task force made the recommendation that there shall be no outdoor growing. Doesn't mean that you can't grow in a greenhouse, but it has to be
Structure.
It has to be a structure, including a roof.
Okay.
So this whole idea of these wonderful fields,
Well, those fields, it's not ideal up here.
it's not ideal. Not for much of the year.
It will not produce. Northern California has the benefit of being low enough to benefit from longer days that we don't get. October ruins. If your stuff's not done by end of October, you better just.
Yep, you're going to have a freeze for sure.
Well,
you're going to have a freeze.
your buds start stretching. It's a really weird phenomenon. I've seen it in a couple of different gardens.
What does that mean?
It'll be a nice compact bud, and second week of probably second week of October, and if you let it go any longer, it starts to elongate all the nodes and becomes loose and less desirable. I've somebody might be able to remedy that, but I've seen it in a couple of gardens where they let it go too long and the bud stretched and got ugly.
No ugly buds.
No, and that's unless you find a strain that finishes in 50 or less days, it's not really ideal. A lot of the pot that people like to smoke, requires 70, 80 days of flowering. So,
Yep.
something to think about.
Something to think about.
The greenhouses, you can supplement the lights. That's what you can keep, you can keep the cycle right.
Right.
And another thing is, ambient CO2 at really high elevations, like anything over 8,000 feet, it drops below 100 ppm. So there's no CO2. The plants don't like that either.
Right.
So if you grow in a roof, it makes a whole lot more sense.
Well, and the other thing we haven't really talked about is the fact that, we're all really happy that we're going to be able to grow industrial hemp.
That's going to, pollinate all this.
Right. Especially
Gross.
because they typically artificially pollinate hemp fields. So that means spraying. And so there have been some studies that say that it's upwards of 7 to 8 miles you should have separation between hemp fields and cannabis gardens.
Yep. So if you were to do any kind of greenhouse, you'd have to pre-filter all the air. It'd be essentially the same setup as a indoor grow minus the lights. You're still going to need all the same fans, filtration, all that expensive stuff. And you're still going to have heat issues because you're not going to be able to move that much fresh air through it like you would if it was just open on both sides.
Right.
So, there's so many ups and so many downs with every one of the issues.
You're absolutely right. And every time I get kind of frustrated, I keep having to remind myself that it's wonderful just to be able to work through the issues. Mm-hmm. This is what we've been asking for. We've been asking for marijuana to be legalized.
Yeah.
We're doing it. It's just a lot more work than I think we all anticipated it ever being.
Well, there's all the roadblocks in the way that, you're sitting there and having to chop the side of the sawhorse to make it fall over.
Right.
Because it doesn't want to fall over on its own.
That's right.
Yeah, that's like we've talked about. You got prison industrial complex that is taking a major hit with this. You've got so much less crime because the price has gone down. You've taken the Mexican cartel quote is completely. Who the hell wants to smoke swag?
Right.
Send that stuff to the East Coast.
That's right.
Keep
Absolutely.
it anywhere west of the Mississippi doesn't need swag anymore.
That's right. Absolutely. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to watch this video because it's really fantastic. I'm trying to take a picture of this dog who is sleeping in the shape of an S because he's ridiculous. But you're listening to iCannabis Radio. I'm Georgia, and we are brought to you tonight by Cuffle Collimore & Company. Cuffle Collimore & Company is able to provide commercial, general liability, and property insurance to dispensaries and growers. Commercial general liability insurance provides up to $1 million protection if you are sued because someone claims to have been injured on your premises or because they claim the product they purchased from you caused them harm. They'll also provide you property insurance, which covers direct physical loss to the business's personal property, unless the loss is limited or excluded, of course. Direct physical loss used to be called all-risk coverage. Insurance companies consider business personal property to include contents such as furniture, fixtures, equipment, and supplies. The value of the business's personal property should be the cost to replace that property. They can also provide you with a loss of business income, which can be included under your property policy. This covers the net loss of profits and continuing expenses if the dispensary can't open due to an insured loss. If you're interested in covering your store or your grow, please call Cuffle Collimore & Company for more information or to obtain a quote. You can reach them at 877-335-1234. That's 877-335-1234. Ask for Bob or email at rtc@iwic.net. We're also brought to you tonight by Noto Urban Garden Supply. They are located at 1330 27th Street in downtown Denver. If Amendment 64 has you scratching your head saying, I think I want to grow my own,
Go holler at Scott.
that's right. Head on down to Noto Urban Garden Supply. They're located just down the street from MMD of Colorado, about 4 blocks north of Coors Field. And they carry all of your necessary growing equipment. Plus, they have a lot of great information. If you've never grown before, or if you're an expert grower who just needs some equipment or some help working through some issues, they are the folks to call. You can visit them at notourbangardensupply.com. They also have a Facebook page of the same name. They're open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's Noto Urban Garden Supply. We'll be right back.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
Hi, welcome back. I got all excited for a second there because Max sent me a picture of Marlo, and he's so cute. So thanks for listening to iCannabis Radio tonight. We are going to play a video. And I posted this earlier this afternoon, and people super loved it. I will warn you, Dr. Allen doesn't have the most engaging voice necessarily, but his information is great. So we're going to go ahead and pop it on. And just a minute. That's okay. That's okay. Some of this, a lot of this information is stuff that you have already heard before. It's just presented in a great way. It's
Dr. Nerd Talk.
Dr. Nerd Talk goes a long way, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Yeah, Dr. Nerd Talk definitely does. I sometimes think I can talk nerd. All right.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Here we
These
go.
laws are based on cannabis is not a medicine. That's what the law is based on. And they stand behind that cannabis is not medicine in the face of all the scientific evidence that cannabis is medicine. And so this is a war on drugs. And in a war on drugs, there must be some rules of the war on drugs. And if that's true, then there must be some people that are violating the rules of war on drugs. And if they're preventing people from receiving life-saving medicine on an ulterior motive that they want to profit from incarcerating people, then that is truly a war crime. My name is Dr. David Allen. I'm a retired cardiac surgeon, and I'm board certified in general surgery and cardiac surgery. I performed bypass surgery, valve replacements, esophageal surgery, major vascular operations, abdominal aneurysms, FEMPOP bypasses, carotid endarterectomies. So I'm an expert in human anatomy and physiology. I, like everybody else, didn't really know the applications that you could use this plant for. I just thought it was something that made you relax and made you feel good, but I didn't really understand its medicinal properties until I became sophisticated enough to understand the pathophysiology and the mechanism of action of how cannabis works. The United States government has a patent which was delivered to the Department of Health and Human Services in 2003. It's the patent number 6,630,507, and it's entitled Cannabinoids as Antioxidants and Neuroprotectants. And it states in that patent that if you give animals cannabidiol, it decreases the size of their stroke by 50%. Now this is a miracle, because no other medicine on the face of the earth decreases the size of the stroke by even 2%. And so this is truly an amazing finding. In the patent, they allude to myocardial infarctions, heart attacks. Cannabis works by stimulating cannabinoid receptors on your cells, of every cell of your body, and they also work as potent antioxidants. And what this means is they scavenge oxygen-free radicals. So there's ample evidence that's irrefutable. Now, cannabidiol is safe even when given chronically in large doses to humans, and it doesn't get you high. It doesn't have any euphoric effect. So they could easily be giving this medicine to patients that come into the emergency room with heart attacks, strokes, or even spinal injuries. And there's ample evidence that if they gave this medicine to people in the emergency room with these illnesses, that they would have vast improvements in their outcome. Now, over 800,000 people have a stroke every year. And of those people, 150,000 of those people die. The rest are left to live and suffer the scourges of a stroke. And this amounts to a great expenditure in healthcare, which could be alleviated by a medicine which is currently available in California. Patients that have valid physician recommendations can get this medicine and can take it on a daily basis as a supplement if they are at high risk for either stroke or heart attack. And they could even take it on an emergency basis if they were to have a chest pain. There's no question. I would personally recommend anybody that's having symptoms of a stroke or chest pain, if they could get their hands on a cannabis product that is high in cannabidiol, they could potentially save their lives. And this medicine is available now in California, and it is not available in Mississippi and other states where the lawmakers prevent sick and dying patients from receiving this life-saving medicine. So if you are at high risk for a stroke or heart attack, you should immediately contact your medical cannabis provider and attempt to obtain a product with high CBD, cannabidiol in it, and take this orally on a daily basis. And if you eat it, if you eat the bud in its natural form, it will have full medicinal effect and not get you high at all if you just eat the raw bud. So really, cannabis is an essential part of the human diet. That's an important concept I want people to take home with them. It's a preventive medicine. If you use cannabis, you will have less problems with a lot of different disease processes. And cannabis, really, the endocannabinoid system is a regulatory system that regulates homeostasis. And what that means is if something stimulates you too much, it brings it down. If you're a little bit depressed, it brings it up. So cannabis provides an even balance in the human body.
Right?
Feeling pretty balanced.
I mean, I think, first of all, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
That CBDs can prevent or lessen. I mean, they talk about the stroke or a heart attack. They always talk about if you're starting to have a heart attack, take a little aspirin, a little 32 milligram, whatever it is.
It's a blood thinner.
So fantastic. Do that. Oh my gosh, have a CBD item around. Any of our seniors definitely ought to have a CBD something in reach. I mean, I just think this is fantastic. It's not surprising in any way, shape, or form. It's so surprising that we don't have ads on TV like they do for baby aspirin.
Well, when you have the fear of prison, you don't tend to promote as much.
It's so crazy making, but I just think that is absolutely amazing. I love the attention that CBDs are getting for a whole bunch of reasons. I mean, last week we had Michaela Comstock on, the the cancer patient out of Oregon, and she and her wonderful parents were on. And, there's a lot of kids who are taking high CBD doses of cannabis. And, we haven't even begun to figure out exactly how beneficial this plant is.
Yep, but you're busting, you're tearing down the barriers right now so that, we can take a step forward.
Yeah, it feels so, I'm not a hippy dippy earthy person. I kind of wish I was a little bit earthier and more natural foods, that kind of stuff. But I don't mean that.
Dippy weather report.
I just mean that because it rhymes. I don't mean that in a mean way. But I fully believe in treating your physical ailments with something other than popping a prescription pill and have forever. But the fact
there's a couple things here. Your body naturally has opiate receptors. Your body naturally has THC receptors. There's symbiotic relationship throughout humankind with both of those plants. You're not supposed to have 100 times stronger than opium products such as oxycodone and all that stuff like that. And then you're giving dosages that, you just fry your opioid receptors and then all of a sudden you become dependent. So THC doesn't do that because the THC molecule doesn't fit in the receptor 100%. Unlike those spice products. Ugh. That's why they screw so many people up. It actually reacts, it fits in more solidly into that THC receptor than does actual THC, so it gives a much stronger reaction with a lower, concentration.
It's gross.
Yeah. Anyone who wants to smoke that, think twice.
Think more than twice.
Right.
We need to take a quick break. We are brought to you by Medical Marijuana of the Rockies, mmrockies.com, your mountain source for meds. Yay, Jerry. They are located in Frisco, Colorado, off of exit 203. If you're heading up to the mountains or back from the mountains, please hang out with Jerry. Tell him that you heard about him on iCannabis Radio.
He's got that good ski weed.
That's right. And not only that, they have some fantastic immature plants. You can check out their website, mmrockies.com. They always have their strain selection as well as their immature plant selection. So be sure to check out mmrockies.com and go to Medical Marijuana of the Rockies in Frisco, Colorado. You're listening to iCannabis Radio. I'm Georgia, and we'll be right back.
The law offices of Edson, Maiden, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Hi, this is Gavin Edson, and you're listening to my mom, Georgia Edson, on iCannabisradio.com.
Hi. Welcome back. I'm Georgia, and yes, that was My Little Pumpkin. We were just talking about a video that is on our Facebook page, and Dr. David Allen talks about CBDs and the benefits of CBDs and how life-altering, life-saving taking CBDs when suffering the symptoms of a heart attack could be, and he recommends strongly taking a CBD item immediately if you're feeling those symptoms, and feels like CBDs should be something that you have in your diet every single day, and how beneficial they are to stroke victims after the research in animals that show that
50% reduction in stroke severity.
Unbelievable.
With an introduction of a CBD.
Yep. I mean, just fantastic. So educate your doctors. Educate your friends. Have them. Sometimes it takes somebody with a whole bunch of letters after their name to impress somebody. And if Dr. David Allen is going to be that person, show that video to anyone who'll look. 7 minutes, 6 minutes and 55 seconds, and if they are willing to sit through that and just listen, and it can make all the difference of the world in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to shift gears just a little bit because, we're preaching to the choir when we talk about the medicinal benefits of cannabis. And he doesn't just say, this is good for when you have a heart attack or a stroke or preventing a heart attack or stroke. He also talks about how it relaxes you. And there's a lot of benefit to some of those milder.
And he's specifically talking about CBD too, which, there's 400 active cannabinoids. So every one of them has to have a potential use somewhere outside of just getting high.
Right. Well, there are lots of people. Bob Melamede is an example. He's a PhD in Colorado Springs, and he talks about how people, and physicians say this as well, people medicate themselves without realizing it. They're taking cannabis and have taken it for recreational, quote unquote, recreational purposes for years, only to find that they have, it is moderated some of their mood issues.
Yep.
Dealt with anxiety, some of those kinds of things as well. And people say, oh, I'm going to, I really need to go home and have a drink. I've had a tough day. And the effects of that drink are not nearly the same as the effects of using cannabis. You're not going to wake up feeling like doo-doo the next day.
Absolutely not.
And
But your liver's not processing a bunch of toxin. That's that a lot of the things with alcohol is it's the impurities that are in the alcohol. If you drink scotch, it's not brown because it's pure. It's brown because it's got a bunch of resin.
It's prettier that way.
Yeah, it's a bunch of resins and stuff that are in the woods from the fired barrels. That stuff all hurts your liver as it's processed. It's coal tar. Essentially. So
yummy.
Yeah, and the thing is, especially with like the oils and the extracts, the usage of the cannabis has become way less than in the past. If let's say you're smoking some shitty ditchweed, you might have to smoke an ounce of it to get the same equivalence of smoking a couple of dabs of hash oil.
I hope you don't have to smoke a whole ounce.
I don't smoke. Yeah,
right? But
we won't go there.
It's interesting that you say that because I think one of the arguments also that you hear all the time is physicians say I won't recommend this because I don't want to recommend something that somebody smokes, and concentrates are fantastic for
Let's
vaping.
go back to the American Medical Association in the 50s and 60s where they were telling you cigarettes helped cure asthma.
Right.
So those guys can shut up.
Well, what's convenient for them. They often say what's convenient for them.
Right.
But so
it's
so
a scapegoat for them not to have to recommend.
Right. That's right. But people are vaping now more than ever, especially now that the handheld vaporizers are so wildly popular and easily accessible. You can find them anywhere.
It creates and it looks like something because of like the electronic cigarettes. It looks way less inhibitive than like a pipe or a big water pipe, something like that. It's something that a grandma can just sit there and hold when she's wheelchair bound. All she has to do is push the button, and instead of masking pain like an opiate receptor, all it's doing is turning off, letting those pain receptors that are going off. It tells them to chill out.
Right.
And that is your quality of life issue on top of everything else. You have rheumatoid arthritis, you smoke some pot, and all of a sudden your hands loosen up a little bit and you stop thinking about it.
Right.
Your mind's not fixated on all this pain because you've got it's slightly masked by the cannabinoids, but not like an opiate. An opiate, you don't take your opiate and you get dope sick. who wants a bunch of dope seniors,
That's
but
right.
but who's your number one consumer of pharmaceuticals? Elderly.
Right. That's
So
right.
they are the cash cow for the whole pharmaceutical industry.
Well, someone in the chat room just said, just talked about how not everybody wants to get high, and this person is so right that that's a population right there that isn't necessarily looking to get a high, but is looking
Right.
to get a relief of some sort.
But that's why we have to focus on each one of these individual cannabinoids, and you have to allow independent study, which that's the whole prohibition thing's never allowed.
Exactly.
University studies
Exactly.
of any of these formulations inside this one plant,
Right.
which each one of these plants from all over the geology or geography of the entire planet. You've got them from every corner of the planet. Sativas, indicas, ruderalis, all these different strains. Every one of them has some kind of different benefit or, brain reactive substance inside it that's going to change lives. Not necessarily improve, not necessarily, create some kind of negative, but there's something there that needs to be looked at regardless. I mean, and on
Right.
top of that, you've got, with the industrial hemp plant, plastics are going to change. You're going to watch if this happens, you've got all these 3D printers that all spray plastic, make it all out of biodegradable hemp plastic and give everything a shelf life of 20 years, biodegradable. And that
Wow.
way you can make everything structurally more sound. It'll be lighter, more fuel. You make your cars out of it. I mean, Henry Ford made cars out of
Yep,
hemp panels.
he did.
So you do the exact same thing, except for without the structure of the frame being metal. Now it's made out of hemp plastic, which is lighter and stronger than the metal, and more impact resistive. I mean, it has the pluses versus the minuses are completely in favor of the hemp. Plus, you take the hemp seed, which has been turned into oil, and you power biodiesel fuel cars. And
We just saved the planet. Thank you very much. Curtsy, we're off.
Yep. But here's another thing: is that you can take any of the byproduct residue that's not retilled back into the ground, and make some kind of alcohol out of it, and then you can supplement your alcohol into so many functions of daily life. Well, you can get off the natural gas, you can get off of all the processing of it too, because alcohol can be produced at a very localized level. So you're not using these huge, vast water resources like you see all these huge operations on these rivers that are they're sucking the water out of the rivers to produce ethanol, and that's bad for the entire Midwest of the United States, because that's where all your corn and all the stuff that they've been trying to make ethanol out of are all in that area. So, you've got ethanol plants springing up out there. Well, there's no water there. So, if you wanted to technically have that, you'd put them on the East Coast, right, where the water's dumping into the ocean, and try to process your alcohol out there. But, we're going to create an additional water shortage just trying to create ethanol. But if we had small level hemp farms where you have a creek right next to there and you're just distilling, 50 gallons a week of alcohol, which all the water returns right back to the creek. It's a few degrees warmer when it enters the creek, but it's just all it is it's no byproduct. All you've done is condensed. You can burn a little bit of the alcohol to produce the heat to distill it. It's the whole world frustrates me right now because it's very inefficient. Like the other day, it's a perfect example. It hasn't been the other day. It's about a month ago. But I'm driving up the county road between Weld County and Boulder County, and you have all these new natural gas wells everywhere. All the fracking stuff that they wanted the fracking ban up there, and 1A or 2A, whatever the bill was.
Yep.
But every one of them has a stovepipe off the side with a huge flame of all the burn-off gas. Why don't you put a water turbine on top of it, closed loop system, and power an electrical pump, or just a generator?
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's a power line right above it that you could just hook a line straight into and feed the grid.
Right.
Like you could just put a transformer on the pole,
Wow.
which is 22 feet from this stupid, polluting deal that you
Yep.
could just put a closed loop 20-gallon water tank on it and just create a steam turbine right there. And there's 40 of them sitting within, a mile of where I'm talking.
Wow.
And so you've got all this wasted BTUs of energy that's just flying into our atmosphere that all should be producing electricity.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be running 24 hours a day for infinity.
Wow.
So at night, when your solar and your wind is not working, why aren't you running off these? And then you can pump all of it out and run your vehicles off that natural gas, if that's so be it. And then you can get rid of the gasoline.
So who did you tell this to?
Nobody.
Oh.
I've just told it to everybody here.
Okay, good. You guys can go do something about that.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, right, Chris? You're listening to iCannabis Radio. I'm Georgia. I'm in the studio with John and with Chris, and we will be right back.
Let's face it, rules and regulations are complicated, especially in the field of medical marijuana. Let Medical Marijuana 101 help you get through the compliance process. We can also explain to you your employment requirements, your employees, and your business. But our work doesn't stop there. Our experience in cultivation ranges from the design of grow rooms to the diagnosis and resolution of grow problems. Visit us at www.medicalmarijuana101.com or call 303-388-7706. That's 303-388-7706. Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On Grass. RunOnGrass.com. You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
Sports played on grass. On grass. Welcome back. I'm Georgia. How are you? We were just thinking about all the things you could do on grass.
Yep.
On grass. On grass, on grass.
Yep.
Just a lot of them.
There sure are.
You'll have to check out the Run on Grass website.
Banking on grass.
What is that?
Banking on grass.
Oh, that sounds boring.
It is. Only thing you want to do is get out of the bank.
RunOnGrass.com. We'll have an update on some of the upcoming runs fairly soon. There's some fun stuff coming up.
It's springtime in Colorado.
It is almost time for run season, which is always pretty fun. I went this morning. So John started off the show talking about, it's a pretty typical day in Colorado. So I went out at about 6:30 this morning, and it wasn't really snowing. It was like glorified raindrops. Mm-hmm. I was wearing my glasses, and it wasn't even enough I think I got one splatter on my glasses, and that was it. Got home, drank a cup of coffee, hopped in the shower, got out of the shower, and looked out my back window, and it was big ol' honkin' flakes.
Yeah.
And then maybe an hour later, it was snowing sideways. And then it stopped and the sun came out. And like 2 hours later, it was snowing sideways again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was all out of the east, too, which is not a common occurrence.
What's pretty crazy, we were just talking about Frisco, Colorado, where medical marijuana of the Rockies is.
They shut down 70 earlier.
There was 100-car pileup. 100 cars. That is just unheard of. Today.
It's heard
Today-
of, just not here.
Yeah. It's not like Kansas where yeah, it was today. It was this afternoon.
It must have been like black ice with the because it was warm yesterday, and then all that wet snow and sleet came in. Yeah, that can be a huge problem when you're at 12,000 feet.
Right. Well, and today, driving home tonight is going to be an issue because it was wet, and it was never really cold enough.
I'm going to be driving up 285. They put chemical down.
Right? Thank you, mag chloride.
Yeah.
But it gets slick out there. All right. So you got some exciting changes coming to your store, huh?
Yeah, we've taken over, me and Big John taken over ownership, so we're trying to work out the details of that and have your husband involved in a little bit of legalese, and hopefully we'll be up and running in about a week, maybe.
And you guys are going to carry some different kinds of things. What else are you going to carry besides some beautiful glass?
We're going to focus on a little bit more apparel. We're going to have a lot of gem and minerals in the store.
Nice.
In the next 3 months, we're going to expand into a larger space. So it's going to be a larger store at that point. So hopefully everybody's would like to still show up and give us some support. We're going to we're going to restructure some pricing. So you stop in and say hi. We're going to carry some different butane options. We've got a lot of things going on.
Butane options.
Yep. We were a Vector-only store. It's really good butane, but we're going to step out and we're going to start carrying the Newport, which is the really, they consider it a superior gas because it doesn't. There's some additive that adds flavor. So if any of the dispensaries are after Newport, we'll have it. And it runs really clean in your torch, too. So if you, are constantly on the go and you don't want your torch to clog and get a misfiring jet, running really clean gas in it.
Now, are you guys going to be in the same location?
We're going to still be at the 26th and Walnut location. So the store on Colfax is no longer, unfortunately. So anybody who enjoyed going over there, come by and holler at us, and I promise we'll make you a customer for life.
Yay! That's a good promise. So next month, when we talk, we can definitely talk more about the new store.
Yep, and hopefully we've, it's kind of a weird timing because you just had all the big trade shows, so
right.
It's going to take us a second to reload on a lot of the crazier glass, like the Joel Halens. He just took, somebody said he took over $80,000 in orders, so he's going to be a busy man for a while. And congratulations, he deserves it as much as anyone.
Absolutely.
Deserves to be successful.
That's so exciting. Well, and his stuff is so beautiful too.
Oh yeah.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
And he's a humble guy who is just good people. Somebody that you want to go hang out with. But,
and you guys are going to have lots of different price points too in your products. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's so that we can catch, every consumer level. Not everybody is a baller, so we're trying to.
I am.
Yeah, yes, you are. Out of control.
Out of control.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're looking for the people who are in control too. So, that's I really want to focus on being in everybody's store now.
Nice.
The exclusive. Our MO is to try to carry glass from every Colorado artist now. So I want, if you haven't been in and talked to me and you've got some glass that you want me to see, please bring it in this week or not necessarily this week, probably next week's better. But I'm going to be needing some quality stuff from quality local people. So come holler at me.
Yeah, that's great. There's lots of people who would love to have a place to have their glass land.
Oh yeah, of course. And that's, up to this point, 64 is going to change our whole life here in about 10 months. We're going to be selling a lot of Colorado themed, accessible type pipes. People want to come and spend $50 and walk home with something that they're like, look how cool this is. I got this in Denver. And it was.
Denver's cool.
Denver's so rad.
Yep.
It's like, it's pretty rad. It's pretty relaxed. I was just in Austin, and Austin, holy crap, has that become just a fast-paced,
really
psychotic town. It's a weird deal because people talk about, drugs. Here's an example. Austin, Texas, one of the fastest growing cities in America. It is full of drugs. cocaine, ecstasy. I mean, you go out and you go to the bathroom. We were talking about it
Yep.
earlier. People are actually doing cocaine off the bathroom of the disgusting bar.
That's so 1986.
Yeah, but this is, there's nobody smoking weed.
Yeah. That's
and
crazy.
here you go, and there's people, sitting out on the patio of, clubs and stuff, smoking a joint. Nobody says anything. Nobody cares. You don't have any fights in the club. No one's in the bathroom doing blow unless
Right.
you're at, one of the like punk rock or rock clubs, and then you just laugh at those people.
Right.
You're like, whoa, nice leather pants. You're 47.
And those pants are from when you were 20.
Yeah. Yeah, and they don't fit.
No. No. And you don't fit.
No. But those people exist, and we just get to laugh at them because everyone else is growing up, growing above and beyond. There's no reason to do all the things. There's no reason to live for excitement on the weekends as much here. We're going out partying. Go. I'm going to sit here and chill and go eat some great, go to a nice restaurant, go chill out, wake up early in the morning tomorrow and go experience the mountains.
Right.
Go fishing or go do something that is not what you're doing, which is going to be hungover, feeling like shit, coked out, binged, maybe still up from the night before on some kind of party
It
drugs.
just sounds so awful.
I know. I was just like laughing at all these people down there. I went to a Talking Heads Hoot Night, which was really, really cool.
That
It was
sounds
like
fun.
it was like 6 different bands were trading out all different band members and whatnot. And they had all the horns and all that. It was great.
Wow.
But and I'm sitting, I'm eavesdropping on conversations, and the whole time just thinking, "Holy shit!" And this is like the first night I got to Austin. The whole time I'm thinking, "God damn, I want to go back to Denver."
And isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and this is like half the world thinks that's like the coolest place you can be,
Right.
and it is. I mean, if you're into partying and having a good time, staying up late, every restaurant
thank
there's
you.
open late, and when I was in my 20s, it was super cool.
Right.
Now that I'm in my 30s, I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah. I've never been a late nighter.
Yeah.
This is about as late as I stay up. Till 8 o'clock to finish my show. Well, this has been such fun, guys. You want to know what else is going on iCannabis Radio this week?
I do.
You don't want to know? Come on now. Come on. Tomorrow night, Sexpot Radio from 6 to 8. They're going to be talking about some gina, I hear. That's what I heard.
JJ's.
That's what I heard.
It's the
Nothing.
JJ.
Nothing. I just want to bet. That's all. Thursday, of course, the Hemp Connoisseur magazine from 4 to 5 p.m. with David. THC. Overgrow the Radio from 7 to 9 with Stickman. Next week, you know what? You know what I forgot to say? So every day now,
Every day now.
JDR, John Doe Radio, is back. So from 11 to 1 every day, Monday through Friday, Tim is going to be on John Doe Radio. So don't forget to check that out. He'll have your news and entertainment and all that kind of good stuff every single day. Next Monday in the lab with Jennifer Murray from Can Labs and Jill Lamoureux from Americans for Safe Access on from 3 to 4 p.m. And then next Monday will be me, and I'm crossing my fingers that
We are totally going to be talking about vagina.
Chris just finally got it. I'm crossing my fingers that we are going to have American Weed Realm Radio on next week, as I promised a month ago.
That's some Stanleys?
That's some Stanleys.
You're going to rope in some Stanleys?
I'm hoping to. I don't even
Might
have to
have
rope.
to harpoon 'em.
I'm just thinking if I ring that little ding, 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 they'll come a-running.
Whoa. It's like a cat in Whiskas commercial.
So I'm going to say it
Just
one more
gotta take
time
the crystal
because
cup.
Jeremy, this is for you. A little bit of Gina. My name is Georgia, and you've been listening to iCannabis Radio, and I can't thank you guys enough for all your support. This has been an amazing week on iCannabis Radio. We've had more listeners, and it just keeps getting more and more and more, and we really appreciate it. And we've got a whole bunch of shows coming up. We'll have new shows as well, so don't miss it. I will see you guys next week. Thank you.
Bye-bye.